I'm gonna start this one too. Did our mics get turned on?
Dustin should be writing in. He's not coming. You didn't see the email? He has a new email. Silence that. It's a good reminder. Especially when that was a scam call.
Nathan said he had a couple chicken from my WRD about and broke up their new ones.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they just stayed overnight.
Are we trying to get away from that 57% positivity rate up there?
Just hope it's not 56 and the other 1%.
Yeah. Thank you.
Real optimist, aren't you?
Did you look out and see my monster?
Oh, I would keep it. That would, I'll see.
Somebody watched me try to find out.
His stuff like.
Good morning. Welcome to our Wednesday, December 16th, 2020 regular board meeting in the boardroom at Fort Clark Springs, King County, Texas. We have a quorum of 3. Dustin Smith, our vice president, has requested a leave of absence for today's meeting because of work obligations. Do we have any objections to that absence?
No.
Say it out loud.
No.
No. All right, the absence is therefore excused. And he will be here next month. When Robert is in standing absence, we are in constant contact with him. He's made aware of everything that we're doing here. But as of yesterday, he was returned to the hospital for some additional issues that have come up with his cancer treatment. He said he was feeling good on Sunday, and now he's back in the hospital, so we're still excusing him from meetings. Okay, could we stand for, do we have anyone that would like to give an invocation? Okay, then we'll have a moment of silence. Please stand. Okay, please say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Texas pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, we have the approval of minutes from the board meeting from November 18th, 2020. Does anyone have any comment on the minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
My second. Approved and seconded, all in favor? Unanimous, to approve the minutes as written. Okay, we have one piece of correspondence for the Secretary's report. It's from Assured Partners of Texas LLC, doing business as Capital City Insurance Agency. It's a letter notifying us that our long-term commercial lines broker is retiring. I hope this note finds you and your family doing well. 2020 has definitely been a year we will not forget. During the course of this year, I was able to spend quality time with my wife Doris and daughter Jennifer at our ranch. Doris, Jennifer, and I talked about the future and all the what-ifs we all face at some point. It became clear God was sending us to telling us to sell the ranch we love and start thinking about the next season in our life. That season began on November 7th with us moving to Holly Lake Ranch in East Texas, which allows us to see grandbabies more often. So the course was set, and this meant planning to retire from the insurance business after 44 years. With this plan in place, our president, Dwayne Baker, who has been wonderful, and my loyal assistant, Larissa Abshire, met to implement a service transition for my longtime clients, many who are personal friends. Effective January 1st, 2021, Dwayne Baker, who is president of the Austin office, will be handling my key clients, and Larissa Abshire will be the point of contact for all clients. Many of you have met or visited with both. I will endeavor to call as many of you as possible, or give me a ring after you get the letter. For contacts after the first of the year, you may contact Dwayne Baker or Larissa Abshire. Contact information for both is below. Signed by Warren Blesch. And Warren Blesch has been acting as our commercial insurance broker for more than 2 decades, so we will miss him. He has always done a good job for us. Okay, treasurer's I guess the approval for the secretary's report. Can I have a motion?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Yeah, secretary's report approved unanimously with 3 voting. Okay, Bill, treasurer's report, please.
Bank balances as of December 15th, 2020, Texas Community Bank, checking $41,914.67. Credit card, $195,890.41. Money market, $8,793.89. Bank and Trust, Los Morris, $693.09. The impound fund, $367,314.44. General, $277,516.10. And historical, $474.90. Bank balances. Motel revenue for November was $23,275. Member service report, total of $2,550. Lot sales, transfers, resale certificates. Fort Clark profit and loss for November. Income, $187,073.02. Expenses, $200,153.28 for a net loss of $13,080.26. For the October through November profit and loss, $477,785.42. Expenses were $419,906.10 for a net income of $57,879.32. At Los Morris, profit and loss for November. Income $934.16. Expenses $851.95 for a net income of $82.21. The profit and loss for Los Morris from October through November, $2,215.54. Expenses $2,214.83 for a net income of 71 cents. Okay, restricted fund for November. Income, $5,258.45. Total expenses were $3,729.19 for a net income of $1,529.26. The profit and loss for restricted fund from October through November was income of $10,449.65. Expenses of $5,685.38 for a net income of $4,764.27. Bad debt depreciation. Net loss of, for November, net loss of $12,086.69. Depreciation was $11,730.75. Bad debt expense was $22,923.60. So a net income before bad debts and appreciation was $22,567.60. The restricted fund breakdown, the balance was $364,537.35. The letter of credit guarantee is $152,000. The amount owed to the preservation fund is $22,589.71. leaving a balance or leaving an account balance of $189,947.64. And that concludes the treasurer's report.
Any motion to approve or questions?
A motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor? 3 voting, majority passes. Okay, executive officer, general manager report. Alan, you're up.
Just to expand a little bit on what Bill said, if anybody really looks into it, we have some areas that we do make our money, that being motel and the RV park. So, over a period, you know, our expenses, and I compare it to the budget more than what we did last year at the same time. And our budget is almost identical to what our expenses are right now. The RV park is doing real well, exceptionally well last month, and also did well in November. And doing pretty much as we budgeted right now. So the trends are still the same. The good part about it is our expenses have been less than our payroll. We've been a little bit more efficient a ship than I expected this time of the year. And we are fully staffed for what we budgeted. So the areas that I expected to add people to are performing a little bit better than what I probably thought. Motel, we have 4 new rooms that will be probably turned over to us at the end of this week for the remodeling, which gives us a total of 13 that have been done, which still means quite a few left to do. The expense to remodel them is probably a little bit more than I expected, but I also, they gave us a quote of $1,500 a room, and I will say after watching what they have done, it is definitely worth the while. But there's some undocumented expenses that we ran into that we'll probably have to look into for the future rooms that we do. All in all, it's been a very good month. We're right on budget. And I think December will be a little bit better than budget, so we're doing well there. We've gone, let me see. I need to go ahead and thank a lot of people. In case anybody's seen, we have a Christmas tree up where nobody knew we had a flagpole. That probably goes back from the Boy Scout days. And I want to thank the people the donations made those lights possible. And that was Kenny County Post, Stan Jan Metcalf, MK Builders, Jim Hamlin, Net Pro, Chad Potts, Mary and Kirk Partlow, Sherry Newman, and an anonymous donor. That was all done with donations. So it turned out a little bit better than I expected. It looks real good. Mr. and Mrs. Kanaka donated books and cookbooks to the library and audits in the adult center. Sherry and maintenance, they did all the Christmas decorations, and that includes the float that we used in the parade. We were part of the parade this year. Sherry helped cut and solely painted the candy canes in the front of the motel. I want to thank Robert Mummy for the Christmas decorations donations, plus the wood to make the candy canes. The adult center was decorated by the garden club. The kids' arts and crafts party on December the 5th was a tremendous success. I think that's the first time it's been done. We had over 25 children and plus parents who joined to make Christmas ornaments in a gingerbread house. So I want to thank all the volunteers who helped on that. One of the last things I want to really bring up is the fact that we have addressed 95% of the delinquent accounts that are over $1,000 on our books, and have forwarded all that information to our legal team that will be following up with everything that we have on the books that is active in Fort Clark. Gabby's done a tremendous job organizing that. We've traced down pretty much what we can immediately go after. And we are aggressively pursuing it for next year. That's been an area of concern. Our golf needs, we are addressing that. Once we have a total number of what we think is going to be needed to make that a very good operation, we'll address the board with those numbers. IT the same way. We're auditing everything we have as far as computers, which ones are needed, which ones are not, which ones are security at risk, because we deal with a lot of things that we need to make sure we have internet security. Maintenance has addressed a lot of the tree trimming. They're getting a learning lesson on a lot of how to trim trees. Especially, I haven't let them touch the oak trees, because that's a special tree, mesquite you can't do much harm to. But fortunately, I spoke with Bill Hahn regarding our oaks and what we need to, trim, and he gave me a lot of good advice on exactly what needs to be done, as well as the situation with the Arizona ashes, because it was a question whether it came in with the Army, if they were introduced, or whether it was with the developer. And it was not the Army, so we're not a problem trying to switch those out. Security, the hunt is going exceptionally well. Just for November, I think we're $6,000 over our budget, and the budget was $10,000, so we brought in $16,000 this year for that. That will be all I need for Jess.
Could you comment on the audit?
It's been an entertaining experience. I think we've cleared up most of the questions that were on our books. I think after the end of the next week, when we finish up, we'll be starting from ground zero as far as making sure everything is running properly and documented properly. So I think Jerry's helped me out. Randy's been working diligently getting it done. So the questions that are, I don't think there's really going to be anything on there we can't answer according to that. But it has been quite an experience.
For our members, Randy is our acting bookkeeper, and Jerry Wojcik is our independent auditor. And they got here on December 7th, right? And they're done, correct?
No, Randy,
No.
Jerry says he may be back next week.
Okay, so Jerry may be
Finish up.
done. And then there was some, any comment from Jerry or Randy on where we are with our PPP loan forgiveness?
Different comments from both. One says 6 months, the other one says we can do it now. So
Okay, well, I'll contact Belinda over at Bank and Trust, that's where our loan is.
I think we can proceed on asking for forgiveness.
Yeah, I will, I'll make contact with Melinda and see what we need to do that. Rihanna, Bill, any questions?
Nope.
I don't know if anybody else is gonna address the spring, because I don't see anybody here. We did have the engineer down here this last Saturday that walked with Chris Hale and I and looked at the spring and assessed the damage and what needs to be done. And we'll probably not have the full report done until first of the year. But I think they'll also address some things more immediate that we need to address quickly, so that we're proceeding with that.
Anyone else? Okay. Okay, onward. Committee reports, airport. If you sent me a report, I didn't get it. So I would like to remind our board sanctioned committees that a report is due from you at each board meeting, either in person, or you can send it directly to any one of us, or to manager@fortclark.com, or to julie.moreno@fortclark.com, or to me. so that we have a report from all of our committees. Okay, architectural. Okay, same to architectural. Golf. Do you have a written committee from golf, a written report from golf? This is from Katie Brown, who is actually their, basically their secretary. The only activity from the golf committee to report is the Keeney County Church Alliance Halloween Tournament was a tremendous success. The tournament netted $3,369 for the Alliance. Everyone had a great time, some even came in costume. Although the Amanda Simmons tournament was not a committee activity, the golf committee actively participated to ensure a successful tournament. The tournament raised $3,700 for the Simmons family toward medical expenses. The next tournament is the Las Morris in March. Plans are already underway and inquiries are already coming in. The golf committee is meeting this evening to discuss the particulars. And this was sent to me on December 15th, so yesterday. And this is respectfully submitted, Katie Brown. Okay, preservation? Recycling. Thank you for coming to every board meeting, recycling.
You're welcome.
Recycling herself.
Yeah. Joy, we finally got the bales of cardboard picked up last Thursday. I expect, there were about 39 bales that were sent, and I expect about $1,500 to come in from that. The recycle center will be closed Thursday, the day before Christmas, and also the day before New Year's. So we will be open the day after Christmas, and what is that? I guess January 2nd. So we'll carry on. And that's it, really, on recycle. And I think Alan just gave us the report on the Las Morris project, that the engineer was here last Saturday, and we won't have the report and recommendations for a few weeks. The other thing, last month, we gave the board some recommendations, and I don't know if you had time to look at in terms of approval. That was for the signage that we wanted to be placed.
As I recall, Alan and Philip, we're gonna go out there and locate.
It's the signage that you asked to have is already gone.
It's gone?
It's gone. It was gone 2 weeks ago. The trash cans are gone.
Yay!
Everything's, Chris was a little amazed. It's all done.
Oh, good.
We've already decided where it probably should go. We're just waiting for the finalizing when we want to put up the, we need to have a dedication to it
Oh, good.
and figure out when we want to do that. So
Super. And that will be
that has all been taken care of, and we're ready for the plaque.
great. Thank you.
Did that answer all your questions?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, election committee.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, thanks, Memo.
There is, Peter, can you pass this down? This is the information, the written information that you all had requested.
Thank you.
Guillermo was now with the election committee. Those are all the important, that piece of paper indicates all the important dates that are coming up in the election. And they wanted me to convey to you all, of course, anyone interested in running for the board needs to submit their application before 5 p.m. on January the 4th of 2021. On January the 5th, which is not listed on that date, well, it is, we're gonna get together here, we're planning to be here in this boardroom at 9, we request the boardroom at 9:30 on the 5th. The building was very nice in setting that up for us. And this is where we are right now.
But this was the really important part we needed,
Yes.
because the admin gives help for ordering envelopes, setting up with the auditor, so greatly appreciate it.
Correct.
That you put this together for us, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
When's your next meeting?
We talked about it last week, I think our next meeting will be January 5th,
Okay.
unless something
Okay.
unusual comes up, or they'll request something, you know, you may want to talk to Mr. Fox, or, I know I received your text also, so.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Well, just let me know if you decide to have a meeting before then, so I
okay,
can keep up with my monitoring.
gotcha.
Thank you.
The next thing is the bylaws, and no one else is here about the bylaws.
Oh, that's you?
Well,
Okay,
I'm doing the pinch hitting.
sure.
We had a little discussion with some of the members on Monday. It's on the assumption that some decisions are going to be made today regarding the bylaws by the board. That was a little bit of the discussion. And there's going to be a few more tweaks. Of course, that's just one or two things from what I understand during the meeting. So that's the current status at this point. The committee feels that they have to wait to see what you all are going to do first. Whether it's going to go through an election or not on the ballot, this coming election, the information.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, community council report. This meeting is really gonna fly by today. Well, I can understand the community council. I did want to make apparently, we've been informed, and I'm really happy to indicate that there are 2 movies up and coming for the Christmas holiday. And my only comment on this is I think it's a wonderful program that they run the movies. However, they are in the post theater, so it is an indoor activity. So we're going to ask that all members be very cautious about social distancing, wearing masks, that type of thing, because you'll be indoors if you go to the movie. Community council is putting on the movies, not the association. And various board members have indicated preferences for following CDC, and some it's up to you. We just like to caution you to be very careful and make sure that you are safe and your family's safe. Good movies too. Okay.
Sandy,
Yes?
can I make one comment? Has nothing to do with, I forgot. This, I just wanted to remind everybody that the virus testing is going to go on today, 9 to 4, at the convention center. So,
Thank you for that reminder. We did post that in the dispatch. We will always try to post all of the COVID-19 information we receive in the dispatch so that all of our members are informed. Okay, we're going to old unfinished business. As you may recall, we began a discussion on the declaration revision. We felt this was necessary because of the vague way in which the common property assessment language in the declaration, and which basically forced us to use a special assessment to make sure that we did it right for the common property assessment. We had a long discussion at the workshop. I want to remind everyone that according to state law and according to our declaration, any changes made to the declaration must be approved by the membership. Any changes that we elect to do will be on this ballot for this spring, and changes will be made available to the membership to review before the ballot is processed, as soon as the board agrees on the changes. And the changes will also be included with the ballot, so that everybody can read what the changes are. Everyone should have a copy of the declaration, and if they don't, they are available in the administration office. So you can come in if you'd like. If you come in and there aren't any copies left, you can, of the actual changes, you can always ask for the existing declaration, revised declaration, and a copy of the changes. So expect that to be with the ballot information in the spring if the board approves this. We asked Dustin to revise the language according to what we discussed at the workshop. And unfortunately, because of work obligations, he couldn't be here. But he's the one that wrote it, so we know that he approves of the language. I'm going to read the corrections, the changes. Okay, this is the correction that will be in the ballot if the board approves. Common property assessment. The board may levy assessments for the purpose of timely paying taxes, rates, and expenses levied on the common property by any legal taxing authority. The board shall make every reasonable effort to ensure sufficient funds are budgeted out of regular and improved residential assessments to pay tax liabilities on the common property. The common property assessment shall be levied only on such occasions as there are insufficient funds available in the regular budget to cover the tax liabilities for a given tax year. I. Common property assessment shall not be levied more than once per fiscal year. I. Common property assessment shall be calculated by the executive officer with concurrence from the board and shall be applied to every active member, family, recreation member, and charter member. So that is property owners, family recreation members, and charters. I. Common property assessment shall not exceed 10% of the prevailing annual regular assessment and shall be in addition to any other assessments levied by the board under this declaration, notwithstanding any other provisions of this declaration. Can we have any, is this what we discussed basically, and then was it prepared and written to your satisfaction? Yeah.
I think so, and I do want to make a note that I personally feel since I wasn't elected, our group wasn't, we were just appointed, we're just making a correction. We're presenting this because we weren't able to do the common property. So we're just correcting a section of the declarations. We're not revising the whole declarations because, like I said, we were just we weren't elected. So I don't mind making a correction, but I don't really necessarily want to be responsible for making a law of the land either. So I feel, I do agree with this because we weren't able to, because the wording was done incorrectly prior, so we're just making a correction. But going forward, I don't feel like I was put in this place to make the law of the land for because I wasn't voted in.
Which is why this has to be approved by the membership anyway. Even if we were voted in, we couldn't pass it without the membership vote. Bill?
I'm okay with it, and it has to go to the membership anyway to vote on, so ultimately they will answer the question, yes or no.
And I agree, this is the essence of what we discussed. It's a proper correction. Again, the language was vague. We have clarified the language. I disagree with a little bit with Rihanna for the purpose that we weren't elected, but if you're appointed to the board, you have the same authority. And our authority ends with the membership on this one. The membership must approve it. If anyone, just for those who are interested, I'm going to read you how a common property assessment currently reads. The board may levy assessments for the purpose of timely paying taxes, rates, and expenses on the common property of Fort Clark Municipal Utility District of Kinney County, Texas, for which payment the members and association are liable, if such taxes are levied by said district to pay the principal of and interest on any bonds, notes, or other obligations of said district issued for the purpose of providing water and sewer facilities to serve the association. Assessments Assessment should be made under the subsection only in the event the restricted fund does not contain adequate funds to pay timely said taxes, and there are no other funds available to the board for such purpose. Aye, aye. Any assessments levied by the board shall be determined by the board and apply to members, family recreation members, charter members. This assessment shall be in addition to any other assessment levied by the board under this declaration, notwithstanding any other provisions of this declaration. That's how it is, and it's vague, so this is the correction. We'll take a motion, and then we'll ask for member comment. Yes.
I motion that we pass it as written.
Second.
Okay. We will take three member comments. Okay. Dick, you corrected.
I'll talk from back here, I'm sure you can all hear me. One of the problems I've had for years is I never received the special assessments. They're mailed out and the post office returns them here to the fort and then they lay in the office. I found it out this year when I came down to find out why. I asked, I said, when was this thing mailed out? I said, it was mailed out in September. Well, they found my envelope laying there, returned. Now, I don't know if the post office refuses to accept them. They're supposed to, but apparently they're not. So I would suggest that for the winter Texans, you give them your away address, because otherwise you're not going to receive any of the information on these assessments. This has been going on for years, Sandy.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that, but yeah, thank you, Dick. Anyone else? Carl?
The way you currently read that, it said not to exceed 10% of your assessments. Is that an annual assessment you're talking about, or is it a monthly assessment?
10% of the prevailing annual regular assessment, which would be based on your monthly assessment.
Okay. That's all the question. You've answered all the questions. I was going to come here and raise up, but you've answered all the questions, and we're going to get a copy
Yes.
of both before we vote.
Yes. Actually, we'll give you a copy before it goes on the ballot. As soon as we can put it together and get some copies made, we'll probably have just a copy of, just the applicable page from the current revised declaration,
You're going to have
and then a copy of the change. So you get to
so we're going to
compare.
copy of both of them.
Right, but please be aware that you can always pick up a copy of our governing documents and add them. And if they're out of copies, we'll make sure they make you one and let you know when they're there. So you just have to walk up and ask, I want a copy of the revised declaration, I want a copy of the bylaws, I want a copy of the rules and regs, whatever.
Garland, the error in it was just in the current declarations, it just kind of states how to handle the municipality taxes. It didn't legally allow us to assess, it didn't tell us the procedure or how to deal with the rest of it, and that's what this correction is. So that way, we're not imposing something in error. So it just took care of like just the water portion of the assessment. So it's when you can see it back and forth, I think you'll see that it just justifies, and hopefully with Mr. Peterson's and everything, that this is just in case we get into a pinch. Legally, we're allowed to assess this. Doesn't necessarily mean we have to.
Well, I know
It's
that.
but so hopefully
But
going forward,
every year that I've been here, we've been special assessed.
we have, and like I said, this year we didn't do the common property. We did because our budget was short, so that we had to do the special assessment because of the deficit, not being able to do the common property assessment. So hopefully we'll don't have to do either.
We're better on it.
Hopefully. Alan, do you have any comment? Alan assured,
Don't bet against me.
no. Alan assured us that he is now budgeting for this. We have much better control of the budget, much better control of our finances since Alan has arrived. He has been working hours to get this straightened around. So, but yes, we will put it out before, it'll take us probably a couple days to get the copies made, and we will also be with the ballot. Okay? All right, we have had a motion and seconded. All those in favor of putting this on the ballot for members to vote on, please raise your hand. Okay, it passes and it will be on the ballot.
May I make one statement? has nothing to do with what you just passed. But I just wanna get it out for the people here and to the board members. I walk around and talk to a lot of people, and I've heard a lot of good comments about Alan. And the membership appreciates him going out and checking the problems. And that's all I gotta say.
Thank you, and thank you, Ellen. Okay, we did take one email vote because the work had to be started. It was from, excuse me, it was from Preservation, and we received this from them. This refers to rock repair at the commissary. It's addressed to Dear Directors, Tuesday, November 24th, I was notified by Tim Ward that the rock guy, quote unquote, used for county and his personal property was in Brackeville. Russell Knoll, Tim Ward, Jose, the rock guy, and myself met at the commissary to discuss the remaining work needed to be done to finish the building. The quality of Jose's work has been excellent, and Preservation would like to hire him as soon as possible. He has a job in Brackeville this coming week. If we do not hire him by this Monday or Tuesday, he will leave the area once he finishes. The reason for this abrupt request. I have included his bid dated 11/24/20. To Fort Clark Springs from CFC Roofing, Uvalde, Texas. Stone repair on the commissary building. Proposed to furnish the labor and equipment to repair and replace the stone brick on the commissary building as follows. Front side underneath the wooden stairway platform, repoint the stone only, apply 2 blocks high with materials to be furnished by the owner. Repoint, repair the brick on one chimney above the roof line with materials to be furnished by the owner, chimney on the right. 3, interior room, remove, repair 4 window headers, lintels. Stone removal, replace stone, level all 4 headers, replace stone with materials to be furnished by the owner. CFC Roofing will provide proof of workers' compensation insurance and general liability insurance. Total labor price including insurance, $4,500. The job is $3,500 plus insurance is $1,000 because the chimney repair is hazardous. Thank you, Pancho Coward. Materials to be provided by owner, Philip. Caliche, sand, stone, and the lift truck. Preservation, white masonry cement, $20. Tim Ward, Mexican bricks. Preservation has currently in their fund $16,223. So this was approved unanimously by email vote so they could start the work. Okay. Finally, the last new business, and it's put under action item, but we have not finalized the language in the bylaws yet, so we can't really vote on it today. But we can have further discussion and we can talk about the areas we discussed at the workshop. And Dustin isn't here, and this is something that we're going to vote to change the bylaws. We'd like to have the 4 of us here. Robert has already commented on this. I guess we'll just quickly go through basically the changes, and if there are any changes, additional tweaks or changes that the committee has from, was it last night? Monday night, they should write them up and give them to Alan or to Julie within the next couple of days, because we do want to get this taken care of by the January meeting. Okay. On the first page, they recommended 23 McClernand Road as the address, and we agreed as a board that this was, excuse me, not necessary. Our address is established in our other legal documents, including our corporate filings, and we don't want to have this fixed in case we decide because of some reason that we need to hold it somewhere else within the county. That was unanimously agreed. Page 3, Brianna, you want to take that one?
You're doing great.
Oh, all right. Okay, I don't want to hog the limelight here. On 3, under Board of Directors, to formulate, amend, or repeal bylaws containing provisions for the regulation and management of the association consistent with Texas and federal law, the revised declaration, and Article 9 of this document. Article 9 is new, added at the end, but if it's actually added, it does not need to be referenced here because it's already part of the document, so it's superfluous. If it's added. If it isn't added, it doesn't belong there anyway. And we'll get to that. So we decided that that didn't need to be there. If it's added, it'll already be in the document and doesn't need to be referenced. We go on to page 5 of their corrections. And they have, under election committee, have added the following. Number 4, the term of the election committee members shall run from September of the year appointed to the following September when the next election committee is appointed by the Board of Directors. Let me make an aside here. The problem that occurred that required a special meeting did not result from the breakdown or language basically from the bylaws. It resulted as a matter of directors not abiding by the written bylaws. And so changes made to the bylaws, we agreed need to be practical changes that make operations more clear and easier than an emotional response to what happened last February. So we agreed that the election committee should stand from the time it's appointed in September through the annual meeting when the new directors are announced. And at that particular point, the election committee is done. We felt that it was unfair to hold these people for 6 months in which nothing's going to happen. In decades here, I think you confirmed twice the entire board has been removed. A couple of decades ago, and when they changed from 7 to 5, and then this recent one. So it isn't something that happens often enough to require an election committee to stand an entire year. It's difficult to get an election committee. We were fortunate that people like Memo and Steve Fox and so forth came through and volunteered to do this. It's not an easy job. So.
And plus, on the committee, you're not able to run. So after someone does, let's use Memo as an example, say that he's running the committee, but say next election he might want to run. Well, he's already kind of continued on that. I guess it would still expire. But that's a long time just to be on a committee. I don't think you'll have a lot of people wanting to sign up if it could draw out for a year when you're just trying to help the association.
Right. And if anything came up, we could always appoint another committee rather than a standing one. And that's a good point. Those committee members may decide to run. Okay, page 7. This is under annual election, under 13. They've changed it to a plurality of the votes cast by lot-owning members instead of those entitled to vote in voting shall constitute an election. The candidates receiving the most votes shall be elected as members of the Board of Directors. The member receiving the highest vote count shall be designated as a non-voting alternate. Okay. It's not a problem, a plurality of votes cast by lot owners or property owners, you could put, but those entitled to vote in voting explains it, because by law, only property owners can vote. However, changing the bylaws to cover an instance where somebody may resign or die, whatever, leave the board, by using an alternate director, what it's basically saying is now we have 6 directors, 5 voting, 1 non-voting, which is contrary to our declaration. Okay. declaration would have to be changed to specify 6 members. And Rihanna pointed out a very good point, that this could cause some serious problems in the future should we have individuals with agendas other than what's best for the fort. Did you want to explain that?
Well, I'm just saying, like, say we have 3 positions that are available, and say 4 people were to run, but somebody, you know, talks a person that's very popular with the association to say, just run, because you'll get voted in because you're very popular, but then once you get in, you can just resign, and that means automatically the 4th one is in. But that's one thing that, and Memo, you can answer. Do you know at this point how many people have put in their name?
One
So we have 3 positions, and so far we only have 1
applicant.
which at this rate, they're on the board at this point. But, so I just think that, I know everyone's a little gun shy because of everything that happened last February, but I think communication just kind of got shut down. We didn't have a leader. I mean, it was just like the perfect storm. But for us, and this is where I was coming back to, I don't necessarily feel comfortable because I really wasn't voted in. And so what we're getting ready to change in the bylaws would completely change a lot. And I really think that the members need to understand what these changes are and just kind of, I just think that we're getting close to playing politics.
Right. If we need big changes, we need changes. We need sensible changes to what happens if a director must leave his position. And that is what needs maybe clarification. Now, what Robert's comment is that the only change he would make would be to define an election cycle so we would know when the election period, because as it currently reads, if someone must resign or dies during an election cycle, which means, you know, the ballots are printed and somebody has to leave the position. Okay.
Or even maybe up to a month after the election.
So we've never explained that. So maybe defining it to up to 2 weeks or up to 30 days past the annual meeting is part of the election cycle. So if, God forbid, someone gets COVID and passes, well, we can go to that next person in the list. But if it happens, the law gives the board authority to appoint replacement directors if it happens outside of the election cycle. It just depends on how we write it in the bylaws, if they leave it up to us. So, she made a valid point, and I agree, that if people are going to misbehave, that's an easy way for them to misbehave, by talking somebody into running, so they'll resign, so a person that wasn't voted in, you know, directly would take the position. So we're trying to remove those weaknesses. And number 14, a vacancy for an expired term should be filled by it said first runner-up of the winner's annual election. That was during the election cycle, which probably needs to be defined. Non-voting alternate. In the event there's more than one unexpired term to be filled, the longest unexpired term should be awarded to the first runner-up. They are changing that to non-voting alternate, and the next longest unexpired term to the second runner-up, and so forth. Write-in votes do not count toward filling vacant, positions. So that would not be needed if that is changed.
Sandy, in that paragraph, wouldn't that be where you could add the cycle?
Yes.
I mean, that same
Yes, we
paragraph.
could define it right there. We're not saying that things don't need to be tweaked, because always there's something that can be tweaked. It's just that we want to make sure that it works and doesn't cause its own problems later. Okay, we're on page 8, part of vacancies. And this is under removal. No change except for says to lead into this, the notice of the meeting and the agenda for the meeting shall be prepared by the Board of Directors, shall state time, date, place, and purpose of the meeting. Change.